And we'll be forming a steering committee which will consist of the charter members, which will be which will be leading the whole this whole process. As an angel, what to expect and what are the expectations? All the current and future charter members will be eligible to be a part of Pune TiE Angels. What is expected is that they must attend monthly meetings wherein we'll have presentation by startups who are looking for funding, and definitely we'll be selecting those companies, and every month we're planning to have maybe 1 to 2 companies present at a monthly meeting. We expect the mentors to sort of get involved in the evaluation process. We plan to have some kind of a nominal membership fee, and we also expect mentors to be, basically, they can lead the deal, or they can even be a champion in this whole process. And we also will need help from these members in the process of due diligence as well as deal closure process, because these are like some time-consuming process. And as I have observed in my, I had done some angel investment, but the biggest challenge has always been, during the due diligence process, doing the legal paperwork. That is all, it can take a long time. So as a process or as a club, basically, if we put it together, we'll have a big advantage of several members coming forward and contributing to this whole process. One thing is, there will be no fund as such, but all these investment will be done by individual members after doing, but that will all be happening under common valuation, common terms and conditions. So that will be the advantage. As an entrepreneur, what to expect? All the entrepreneurs will have a great opportunity to seek funding from experienced investors. Most of our charter members have great experience. They have run companies, they have sold companies, they have raised money. And to get funding from this group of people will be very advantageous. All these members come with significant operating as well as entrepreneurial experience. And possibly you'll also be able to get access to the mentor network. Apart from this, of course, we are already offering several other services like support and training activities like breakfast meetings or workshops, etc. We plan to have the investment to be in the range of anything from 50K to 200K. These amounts can vary. It is possible that the company might be at an advanced stage or may be requiring a larger fund. In that case, we'll have syndication with other angel organizations such as TiE, Mumbai Angels, TiE, Bangalore Angels. I have been talking to some of them. So that will basically we can get a bigger funding also. We have just begun this process, so we'll be sort of sending out some more communication. And for more information, please contact Mandar, myself, or Vishwas. Thank you very much.
As the partner of TiE Nurture program, UK Trade and Investment, I believe that we can bring the dimension of the whole international strategy, globalization for entrepreneurs and for the small companies, small mid-size companies which are part of this program. So I really believe that we are here to help you to take your business international. UKTI, of course, provides a range of services, and I will quickly give my sponsor message about that before I share a few other thoughts with you. So we are a British government department. We help companies to set up and grow in the UK, and we provide a range of services which are all free of cost, which include giving you information about the market opportunity, about how to set up and do business in the UK, and about quickly networking, which are the right events to attend, which are the right trade bodies to interface with. So I was very happy to hear some of the Nurture graduates mentioning that as soon as they get funding, they would like to set up their offices in US and Europe, and we are here for that. We can help you to make that happen, maybe even before you get funding, so do speak to us. On a personal note, I'd just like to share with you my perspective on making a place in the world and India's place in the world. And currently it seems that the times are very tough. And when I say the times are very tough, I mean that what's the kind of hype that's been created about India globally, which is unfortunately not positive at this time. If you want me to illustrate, I have some quick snapshots just to tell you what I mean and how much it has changed from 2006 and 2007, when India was the toast of the world, to now. And are we really being regarded as a bad joke, which is a matter of great concern. And it affects everyone's business, it affects your business. Because the kind of partners that you will attract, the kind of customers you will attract, the investment that you will attract, all those are affected by how India is seen globally. So some quick snapshots in 2006, 2007, when we had seen some 6 or 7 years of liberalization, and we were really riding very high at that time. And we had changed so much, because in terms of economy, for example, just some indicators. By 2008, only 17% of our economy was composed of agriculture, which had been as high as 55% in 1950. So that just shows how much we had developed in terms of industrialization. The economy was growing at 8.5%. Sensex had touched 21,000 points. And in March 2006, Manmohan Singh said, he was then Prime Minister as well, he said that India is poised to grow at a rate of 9 to 10% every year. And PricewaterhouseCoopers said also many things. From 2006 to 2011, India will be the fastest growing auto manufacturer, and lots of things. Similar stuff from McKinsey reports and things which I can share with you. But basically everybody was saying that we are going to keep growing like that forever. And I think that a lot of the business people I met believed that we would keep growing like that forever. Their confidence, their plans were like that. Today, unfortunately, the world believes that India has not lived up to that promise. And first of all, international investors and people who are doing business here are reporting on the crippling corruption. A few weeks ago, Mohandas Pai, who's one of the founders of Infosys, tweeted, this is about 2 tweets which I've combined. In Singapore, met many investors, most disillusioned about investing in India. Shocked at extent of negativity about India, never seen such negativity in the last 19 years. India lacks credibility, people do not trust our policies or commitment. One of the saddest days of my life. Manmohan Singh has been saying 6.5% growth looks difficult. When I last read, I may have lost track, he may have now been saying even lower growth rates look difficult. Investors like ArcelorMittal and POSCO are announcing that projects have been stalled or abandoned. So all this makes us really very sad, from being the toast of the world to are we now a bad joke. And I think that this is something which affects a lot of the young, bright, enthusiastic entrepreneurs whom I meet regularly through the TiE Network. It affects all the young B school graduates who are getting into the job market. And we really need to think about what do we do in this situation. So there are just a few thoughts that I have. The first thing that I'd like to say, my submission to the young entrepreneurs and all my friends here, is that we just cannot afford to fall for positive or negative hype cycles. So we are not those people who flock to India in the hope of some great riches. We are not those people who are digging for gold right now in Unnao. So we are here to build the country. Okay, we are really here to build this country. And we cannot get affected by whether the wind is blowing this way or that way. That's my first submission, and we have to start thinking in that perspective. The other thing I'd like to say is that the economic indicators are quite deceptive. We need to shift our focus to social indicators. This is a wholly different story where there is no great, what should I say, there's no great India shining story there. I quote from the UN Human Development Report of 2013. We rank 136 out of 186 countries which are ranked by that report. On the Gender Equality Index, Iraq and China are ahead of us. Okay? Is that quite difficult to believe, right? The life expectancy of a newborn child in India is lower than that of a child born in war-torn Iraq. Okay? Sri Lanka has overtaken us on the Human Development Index substantially. The situation on education, health, gender equality all show that we are falling short of our